Everyone, in today's video I'm going to be using Canva again. Now, I only ever use the free version. I signed up to Canva years ago for the free version and that's all I use. I have never done the trial for the pro version and I don't pay for the pro version. So if you go to canva.com and you sign up, as long as you sign up for the basic free program, you'll be able to use it indefinitely for free. And as I say, I'm already signed in. At the top of my page, you'll see where it says pricing and plans. They offer the free version. It says design anything and bring your ideas to life. No cost, just creativity. That's all I use. There is a pro version that unlocks more features within Canva that you pay for. I'm not sure whether you pay for it monthly or whether it's an annual fee, but as I say, I don't pay for that. You can have a trial period for 30 days for the pro feature, but once it's expired, you either have to pay then for the pro features permanently, or you, as far as I'm aware, you can just go and sign up for the free version. But it's the free version I used, and that's all I've ever used, and I've used it for years. So I've got a bit of an idea that I thought I would try out today. I've not tried this out before. I've not practiced it or anything, so I'm just literally going to do it. So, you know, there may be parts in the video where I hesitate for a few seconds because I'm unsure what to do. If there are, I'll maybe try and edit those out. But my thinking is I want to design a card front that can be printed on my regular printer and then just cut out with, you know, a ruler and an X-Acto knife or a paper trimmer, and then just fold it in half, crease it down the middle, and I've got a kind of pre-made card, if that makes sense. So, as I say, I'm in canva.com in the free version. The first thing I'm going to do is come to custom size. And because I use Canva a lot, it will show like recent sizes I've used. And in the UK, our A4 paper is 8 1/4 by 11 3/4. So that's why you see that size here. And you can see it here. So this one would be portrait. This one would be landscape. If you're in another part of the world and you use 8 1/2 by 11, then, you know, you make your size accordingly. But in case you don't know, I'm going to come up to the top of the page. It always defaults to pixels in Canva. I'm going to click on the downward arrow and change it to inches. I want to make my printout in landscape mode. So in the width, I'm going to type 11.75, and in the height, I'm going to type 8.25. As I say, you put your own measurements in. If you've got a printer that can print bigger and you want to make a bigger card, then, you know, make whatever size your printer can take. I'm now going to click on create new design. That should give me a blank 11.75 by 8.25 canvas to work on. Now my thinking is I am going to make a card that the finished size is 5.75 by 5.75. I'm going to come over to elements. I'm going to choose one of the basic shapes. I'm going to drag it out until it's 11 1/2 inches wide. Okay, so it kind of just fits on my 8 1/2 by 11. If you are unsure and you want to make your card maybe 5 1/2 by 5 1/2, just take this down to 11. And then in the height, I'm going to make it 5 1/2. So I'm going to drag it down until it says 5 1/2 in the little black and white box. So I've got 5 1/2 by 11. So when this is folded in half, this will give me a 5 1/2 by 5 1/2 size card. I'm going to just position it in the middle of my page just to kind of, so it's a bit easier. So all I'm doing is dragging on this pink box until I see the very thin purpley pink vertical and horizontal lines, and that shows me that that's just in the middle of my A4. It's not vital, it just might make it easier for you to see. My thinking is I want to have a design on one half of the card so that then when I fold it, this section here on the left will be the back and this will be the front. I'm going to come over to the ruler on the left hand side and I'm going to drag a ruler out. So if this pink rectangle is dead in the middle of the page vertically, when I drag this ruler out, if I put this ruler in the middle here, this should give me more or less the middle of the card. So I know if I'm working on the right hand side of this line, then it's going to be kind of fairly centered. So I hope that makes sense. So I want to kind of look for some kind of background to put in here. And then my thinking is I want to put a letter, say, if you were making this as a personalised card for somebody and you wanted to put their initial of their first name, I'm going to put a letter and then try and add some decoration. So I want a background, but I don't want a big, flat, dark pink colour like this. So I'm going to come up to Elements on the left, and in the search box, I'm going to type gold background. Not sure whether this is going to give me anything or not. And then I want to be under graphics to narrow down my search and see what there is in here that I might be able to put on this half of the card. I don't really want to print on the back half of the card because my thinking is if I was making this, I'd probably make it in white card, and you could have the back filled in as well if you want. I don't know, I may or may not do that, we'll see. This one looks quite nice that's here. Anything with a crown is part of the pro version, which means unless you've got the pro version you'd have to pay to use it. I don't want to do that. I want to just use all free elements in the free version of Canva. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm just going to scroll down and see what there is, if there's anything that I like the look of, and there'll be all sorts of things in here, but for now I'm not sure what I want to use. Let's have a look at this one. No, I don't like that, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go back up to that one that's near the top, this one here. That's actually quite nice, and if you click on the design over, I've put it in twice now. If you hover over the design over on the left hand side, you'll see 3 dots. And it will say view more by this person that's made it. So if you click on that, that will then bring you other designs up that this person has made. And there's nothing else in gold, so I'm going to just hit the back arrow up here. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on the pink rectangle, come up to the pink shape at the top, which is my colour fill, and I'm going to say no colour. Then I'm just going to grab the rectangle, drag it back into the middle of the page till I get those vertical and horizontal lines again. So now I know that my 11 inch by 5.5 inch is filled with that colour, but it seems to have changed size. So I'm just going to bring it back in and resize it. So I want 11 by 5.5, and then I'm just going to bring it, there we go, back into the middle. So it's 11 inches wide by 5.5 inches high, and I've filled it with this background colour. I've got my ruler in the middle as a guide, so I know if I work on the right hand side that I should be on the front of the card only, which is where I want the design. So I'm going to click on the image and go to edit image. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to come up to transparency, and I'm going to take the transparency down a little, maybe to 75. So all I've done, instead of it being kind of quite gold, I've made it a bit more muted. Now I'm going to come to the text, and I want a nice bold text. So, you know, if I was making this for somebody with the letter A, for example, I would add a text box, type my capital letter A. I'm going to make sure the rectangle's selected, and I'm going to lock the layer. That way I don't have to, you know, keep worrying about moving it. I'm just trying to get hold of the letter A and I can't get hold of it. So there we go. So now I've got the letter A and I just want to make it bigger. So I'm just holding my left mouse over the numbers against the font for now until I can get hold of it and move it more into the middle of the page. And then I can drag a corner and drag it out. And again, if I move it, you'll see the pink horizontal line appear across here. So I know that it's kind of positioned centrally. I'm going to change the font. I don't know what font I'm going to use. I want quite a chunky font, so this may take me a few minutes to find one. That's quite nice actually. I might go with that one because that's quite chunky. It's called Archivo Black. And as I say, I only use the free version, so I haven't uploaded any fonts into Canva. This will be a Canva font. I'm just going to drag it out so it kind of fills the page a bit better. So that's what we've got so far. Now I want to change the colour and then I want to add some elements to it. So with it selected, I'm going to come up to the text colour at the top. And it's pulling in, if you see here, photo colours. Because I used a graphic in the background, it's pulling in colours from that graphic. So I'm going to pick the darkest colour, see if I can change this black letter to this dark colour. So can you see, it is darker. I could make the background lighter to make it stand out more, but I might add a border to it. So I'm going to select the letter. I'm going to come to Effects. I'm going to say Outline. And I'm just going to give it a very faint outline. So a 1. And it's chosen this dark colour for me, which actually looks quite nice. So I'm going to leave it. So now I've got this A on this background. Now I'm going to want to try and fancy it up a bit. So I'm going to type in this, I'm going to go back to Elements. And in the search box, I'm going to type wildflowers and see what comes up. I have used wildflowers in the past, but not for this project. As I say, I've not tried this. I'm just doing this with you. So I'm going to come to graphics again and see what comes up and see what I can use. Quite like this leaf. I did say this was a process video, you know, and this is kind of how it kind of works. You've just got to play around and see what works for you. As I say, anything that's going to get cut off, don't worry about. Duplicate this, line it up on top, and then let's see if we can, I want it to look as though part of it's behind and part of it's on top. So the one on top's exactly lined up to the one underneath, and then I'm cropping out. That kind of looks all right, but this bit isn't right here now. Let's bring that one back up, crop that one out. So let's see. Looking a bit better. It's not exactly what I want. You see, I've got this part goes behind the letter and this part's on top. It's just not quite right here. So I'm going to drag it out a little bit so it kind of lines up. And then I want to see if I can get rid of this bit of leaf here. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to come to draw, choose a colour. I don't want red, so let's undo that. I'm going to come to the colour swatch. I want a colour that's in this design. So let's go back to text. Click on the text. Might have to unlock it first. Click on the text. I can see the text colour up here. The text colour is when I hover over it, it gives you the hex code. So it's D, F, B, D, 5F. Let's see if this works. So let's go back to where I was, zoom in, come back to draw, come back to the felt pen, go to the colour, where it says document colours, add a colour and type in that hex code. So it was DFBD5F. That's the colour I want. You can see the nib on the pen's changed, and then I want to take this out with that colour, and then when I've done, I'm going to go back to elements. So now you can see I've got one image that goes behind, and then I've cropped the other image so it looks as though it's in front. It all looks like the same leaf, but part of it is behind and part of it is in front. Let's see if we can add some flowers now. So I'm going to choose a flower, shrink this down, I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to make different size flowers, I think. And remember, anything that extends beyond the bottom of the background is going to get cut off. So, you know, if you don't mind losing a bit of the flower, I'm going to shrink this one down. So this tiny bit here will get cut off, but I'm not unduly bothered about that. I quite like the look of that. Don't know whether to leave it like that or whether to add some more leaves. I could select this leaf and duplicate it, and then let's flip it horizontally, rotate it, then let's maybe crop some of this out. I'm not sure if this is going to work. We'll send this arrange backwards. Let's duplicate that one, put it directly on top. Let's drag this one down. No, I don't want that. Let's get rid of. Let's go to layers, find that tiny bit that's there and get rid of that. I think I'll leave it like that for now. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to text. So basically we've got a leaf design here that goes behind the letter. Then I duplicated it and cropped some of it out, so it looks as though part of it is on top. So this looks as though it's like on top and then going behind. And then I'm going to come back to text, add a text box, and let's do to someone special. Come back up to the fonts and let's look for a nice font and see if we can put some text on it somehow. I'm not sure this is going to look. As I say, it's just a bit of a kind of a process just to show you how you can make things in Canva for free and, you know, just make them a little bit different. You might want to add other elements. I might add some more elements in a minute, but let's just have a look. Let's look at this font. Let's make it bigger. Maybe put that across like that on an angle. Select it, come back to the colours, and then again it will give you all the colours that are in any elements that are on your screen. So these are all the colours that are in the background, and these are all the colours from the leaves. I could choose, let's choose the green and see. Let's highlight everything, choose a dark green or a pale green. No, that's too. Let's see. Click anywhere on the page to deselect. I've not got all the letter here, so come back to the colour wheel, come back to that colour. Click anywhere on the page to deselect. So when I zoom in now, you can see I've got to someone special. and it's in the green that's in the leaves. I could select that and go to effects and add an outline to that. I don't want bright green for a start, maybe the deep gold around it. Select it all, outline, change it to, no, change it to grey. No, don't like that. White. White might be quite nice, or that pale cream actually. So let's just left click on the page anywhere to deselect and zoom in. So now I've got the kind of green in the middle and the cream of the flower, highlighting it just to make it stand out a bit more. And then I want to add a bit of texture, I think, onto this letter. So let's come back to elements and let's do glitter and hit enter and see what we get. In fact, I'm going to type gold glitter and enter and see if there's anything for free. Let's use graphics again. That's quite nice. Drag this over and see how this is going to look. I don't want it to be on top of the flowers. Let's crop some of this out. I quite like the speckled look, but I don't want it over the flowers and I don't want it over the text. So with the glitter selected, I'm going to come to position, arrange and say backwards, and keep clicking backwards until it's behind the text and the flowers. I've gone too far, so I'm going to bring it forwards. So now if I zoom in, you can see I've got this glittery effect, but it's not going over the flowers or the words. So again, just left click anywhere on the page to deselect. So I'm thinking that looks quite nice. Again, I'm thinking I might add an outline around the flowers to see if I can make them pop off the page a bit more. So I'm going to select one. I'm going to come to edit image, effects, shadows. Let's see if we can add an outline, but I don't want black. So I'm going to drag the colour wheel into the kind of yellowy golds, and then I'm going to drag the circle up, and let's maybe make the size a bit bigger just so they pop a little bit. Or let's go back to the colours, maybe go into the greens and drag the circle down and make the size a bit smaller. Or should I not? Or might type in that colour that I did the text. So DFBD 5F and hit enter. And that just makes the flower have a bit of a border. Don't know whether I like that, to be honest. Try it on this one. Outline, colour. That one looks quite nice. This one's gone back to black. I think the reason obviously I'm losing some of the outline here is because it's on that colour anyway. So if I try and make it a bit darker, it might stand out a little bit more. So I've got a new hex code here, so I can copy that, come to this one, outline, change the colour, then do the same on this one. So outline, hit the colour swatch, type in the new hex colour, And then when I zoom back out, that's looking a bit better. And then I don't know whether to add an outline on the leaves as well. So let's go edit image, shadows, outline. I don't want black. Let's maybe come into the greens. See how the edging is changing colour. And then once I've got that, take the size of it down just to make it pop a little bit more. And then again, just click anywhere on an empty space. So I've kind of outlined the leaves, outlined the flowers, I've added a bit of gold glitter, I've got some text, and I've got my base card, which is 11 by 5.5. So when I print this, I can literally just take this to my trimmer and cut it out, and I've got a pre-made card, fold it in half. You know, you could keep going and add other things on it if you want. I'm not sure what else I'd want to include, and that would kind of be how my card would look. So you'd cut it out, fold it in half, and this would be the front and this would be the back. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. I think that looks quite nice actually. You know, considering it wasn't planned, I just thought I'd try it out. So from here, all you need to do now is give it a name. So I would call this 5.5 by 5.5 initial card design. Then I would hit File and Save, and that will save it into my Canva projects. So if I want to come back and maybe recreate this again but change the letter, you know, I could do that. And then from here I would go to Share, Download, and I'm going to print this. So I would change the file type to PDF print and then download it. And then print it out, cut around the 11 by 5.5 base, and, you know, using a bone folder and my scoreboard, just put a score line down the middle, and I've got a pre-made card. You could change this word into just a note. It could be thank you. You know, you don't have to use a letter. You could use anything, but I was just thinking, you know, make this a kind of like personalised card for somebody. But, you know, just to give you an idea of what you can do using all free elements in Canva. So I've not brought anything in from anywhere else. You just saw me choosing elements, you know, from within Canva. I'm using the free Canva version. And I think that would, you know, make a really nice card for somebody. So I hope you found that helpful. Please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.